Hi, this is Aura Walker on radiobuzz.com, and I'm coming to you live in Cyberland, and we are a streaming radio station. I have a weekly show, the Aura Walker Hypnotherapy Show, and I help people with all kinds of life issues. So I have 22 years of experience working with children and families, and today I'm going to be talking about self-care during the holidays. The last show was about gratitude and the real meaning of Thanksgiving, and I saw a term I really liked, which was Friendsgiving, and it's friends getting together and sharing with each other food and just sharing without the pressure of the traditional historical meaning of Thanksgiving, which there is a conflict with Indigenous people. So today I'm going to be talking about self-care during the holidays and what does that mean. So over Thanksgiving, I had an experience where I went to a friend's house, and I've been living in Los Angeles for 14 years now, but I grew up on the East Coast, and all of my family are on the East Coast. And so because I have a small unit at home, which is just myself and my daughter, and if time and schedules permit, then we may be with a couple of other close friends during the holidays. But over the years, I've always gone to a close friend's house for Thanksgiving, in part because it's such a huge meal to cook just for a small group at home. And also just sharing with friends has seemed to be just such a better experience. However, this year I went to a friend's house who had 17 people coming, and what happened was that she got extremely stressed out towards the end before the meal was served, and I got stressed out because she got stressed out. And so I realized that she was completely overextended, and it turned out to not really be as fun as I hoped it would be because she was so stressed out. And it was okay in the end. Everybody had a good time. But what I walked away from was enough. I'm done. I'm done relying on friends to have us over and feeling that they're overextended because they have so much to put forth in, preparing dinner and having all these people over. And so what I wanted to share with people today was about self-care during the holidays, because it is a tough time for many people. And there are people out there, which I mentioned before, who are either sick or elderly or have mental health issues. And so isolation tends to be an issue. But I'll tell you, on the flip side of isolation, if you can get past the feeling of isolation and realize that sometimes it is better to have just some peace and quiet. It's not that being with friends is not an enjoyable experience. It's just that the holidays tends to put a lot of pressure on people to deliver, literally, whether it's gifting or a good time. There are all these high expectations, and it's just become kind of a joke, that there's always going to be some disruption at a holiday gathering. That basically the truth is that 99% of families are dysfunctional. And so the dysfunctional family is the norm. Okay, let's just get that right off the bat. The dysfunctional family is the norm. And I saw a very funny joke that said something like millennial ruins Thanksgiving with facts that they learned in their social economics class or something like that. And it just made me laugh because that there were so many families in America over Thanksgiving that had that young college student come home and share all their Bernie Crat facts that, were definitely going to be a controversial topic at the table. And certainly that came up at the dinner that I was at, that somebody challenged social democracy. And the thing is that social democracy is so misunderstood. It's not about eradicating what people have. It's about creating opportunity for across the board for more people than just the top 1%. And, if we just allowed people in this country to have an edge on healthcare and education, just those two things, there would be a lot more prosperity in this country. And the country as a whole would do better. And so when we talk about social democracy, it's really about everybody getting a little bit ahead. And so just coming back to my main topic today about self-care, it's not diverging too much on social democracy, but I had to get that out there as a controversial topic that probably came up over Thanksgiving. But getting back to self-care, again, if you can get past the whole idea that you have to be with a crowd during the holidays, or the have-tos, right? There has to be a lot of money. If you don't have a lot of money to buy people gifts, that, you're somehow a failure, a loser, is ridiculous. The fact that you have to partake with somebody else's family, or you have to be surrounded by lots of people during the holidays, otherwise you're a loser, or you're just, a waste, or you're going to have a terrible holiday season, is also just ridiculous. It's so much pressure that we put on each other and ourselves. And so what I want to share is that what I walked away from is I didn't like seeing my friend stressed out, having too many people come over to her house. And I didn't like the feeling of being stressed out at somebody else's house because they were stressed out that there were too many people coming and they didn't have the coordination down, and it just turned into kind of a cluster cluck at the end a little bit, and it kind of it all smoothed out in the end. But I realized, what, next year I'm just going to bite the bullet, and for the first time I'm just going to cook a small meal at home, and it's just going to be myself and my daughter and my boyfriend if he's available. And so it's just going to have to be something small. Like I said, all my family is on the East Coast, and it's just is something that it's time for me to just do stuff at home now more, and not put the pressure on myself to feel that I have to be at a big table during the holidays. And for Christmas this year, we are going back east. It's usually what we do. We go back east to see family. It's a trek. It is a big jaunt for myself and my daughter, but she's still pretty young and there are kids there. And I think for her kid experience, it's nice to be with small groups of family. So we don't do a giant group anymore. We just do small little groups. We go and visit with just a couple of people at a time. And I think that is just more manageable for myself. So I want to share with other people out there, take the pressure off of yourself. And so there is a new movement now, to get back on social democracy. There's a new movement, which is the Friendsgiving, right? Which is less pressure over Thanksgiving in terms of like, it has to be this, this holiday where we, talk about the false narrative of the Pilgrims and American Indians, because really the American Indians were slaughtered. So, let's not be thankful for that. But it's about, just giving thanks in your own life. And so, again, going back to the topic of social democracy, there's a new movement. Besides Friendsgiving is the new Thanksgiving. There's a new movement, which is no gifts or very few gifts over Christmas, because really, unless somebody really needs something, going out on a limb and getting someone a gift that they may not need, and oftentimes they will not like unless they give you a wish list, which is always a good idea. Ask people, what is it that you really want or need? But oftentimes getting these superfluous gifts, like I have another friend who has a number of children, and her house is overflowing with stuff. I mean, everywhere you look, there's just stuff. And I know it's a big problem for her. Every weekend, it's, we have to clean out this stuff They have to clean out their living room or their garage or their guest room or this or that. They have too much of everything. And I think that with big clothing companies now, where you can go in and buy clothing at such a affordable price, clothing has become dispensable. Computers have become dispensable. Within 5 years, computers are often obsolete and dispensable. Cars are, once you get a car, it depreciates immediately. So cars are dispensable. Everything is dispensable, and there's just too much of everything and too much waste and too much trash. And so to take the financial pressure off of yourself, how about an experience? How about I pay to take you out to the theater, or take the kids ice skating, or how about if I make you a cake or cookies or a pie, or something that somebody can use or have that experience, rather than feeling the pressure that you have to buy something expensive. Because 9 out of 10 times, whatever you buy for someone, unless again you ask them or it's something they need, is going to be stuffed in a corner or not used. For example, for many years I bought my mother very expensive gifts that she never used, and so finally I just started buying her bath products, soaps, very nice soaps, hand soaps, which would seem to some people like, what, you bought your mother hand soap? But you know what, she uses it, and so I know that it's being put to good use. So it's not about the amount of money that you're spending, it's about what that somebody is actually going to put to use, and taking care of yourself, taking the pressure off of yourself, that you don't have to find a big event to go to, that if you don't have big plans, that maybe it's better for you just to have a quiet night, watching movies, or just preparing a nice meal for yourself. That this is really the gist of self-care. That self-care is that, and I talk about this often in my work repeatedly, that it's that metaphor that if you're on an airplane and you're seated between a child and an elderly person and there's a problem, you have to put the oxygen mask on yourself first rather than on the child or the elderly person, because you're not going to be of any use to anybody if you pass out without oxygen, and 2 people who are less capable will need your help. It's the same thing. You are not going to help anybody in the world unless you take care of yourself first. And so to see that when I went to Thanksgiving dinner where the person who was the host was completely overextended and stressed out was just stressful for me. And I decided I don't want to put that pressure on anybody again, and I don't want to put that pressure on myself. And so unless it's a situation where I know that nobody's going to be put out or stressed out with too many people that they have to host, that I would rather just do something quiet at home. And that's a new self-realization for myself at this point in my life, and I'll be 50 in 2 years. So it's never too late to have a self-realization that you don't have to do what everybody else is doing, and you're not a loser, and you don't have to feel alone in the world. Because sometimes if you are alone, if you can find a way to enjoy your own company, and if you really are depressed and suicidal or hate being alone, well, then it's important to reach out and to find people that you trust to ask for help and for support. And if you ask 1 or 2 people and you don't get it, keep asking. It's like what we train our children, that if somebody is harming them, they need to tell an adult, right? So if you're an adult and someone's harming you, or you are feeling that you need help, you need to ask. Just like we tell our kids, keep asking until somebody listens and helps. And it's the same. If you feel completely isolated and that you need help on any level, keep asking until somebody helps. That's another level of self-care. So it's both poles, right? So there's the level of self-care that you need to ask for help if you really feel down and like you don't want to live anymore. But it's more of a feeling that you're not well and you need help. You need to keep asking until you get that help, until somebody will listen to you and help. Keep asking. And that it's not an attention-seeking thing. That's not something to play with or to cry wolf, as the myth, the little boy who cried wolf. You know, he wants the attention. He keeps crying for help, crying for help, crying for help. Help! There's a wolf. There's a wolf. And the village comes to chase off the wolf, and there's no wolf. And then when there is a wolf, nobody believes him. So it's important that when you really need help, that you ask for help, and it's not a game. It's not a cry for attention. That you're serious about it, and that you have integrity, and that there's no shame. There's no shame in asking for help. And then the flip side of the coin is that if you are not depressed and you're capable, and you see that all your friends have already too many people coming to their home, that perhaps it's a good idea to bow out and just have a quiet night at home, because 9 out of 10 times it's going to be a stressful situation. It's one thing if your family is stressful. Well, just imagine that that's the reality for someone else who's hosting their family, and that you're adding to that mix. And if their family is stressful, then you're going to be stressed out with their family. And it's not even your family, it's someone else's family to be stressed out with. So these are some things to consider about the meaning of self-care, is to check in with yourself. And I have some keywords that I use often when I write or speak about self-care, and that is to be authentic with yourself to begin with, to check in with yourself, and to take a look at what you need more than anything. And that's not to be selfish. It's not selfish to take care of yourself, and to just state very calmly and directly what you need. And again, if it's really, truly what you need, that you need some time alone, or that you prefer to be alone or at home, that there is no shame in that whatsoever. And if you really need to be with people and you prefer to be with people, that there's no shame in that. So it's checking in with yourself and having the authenticity, right? So that's a key word, authenticity and integrity, to speak your truth and to be consistent, and to not feel that you have to be a people pleaser. The terrible thing about being a people pleaser is that oftentimes people pleasers will end up being liars, because, and not intentionally, it's not that they want to be liars, but they will lie because they will say what it takes to whomever they're in front of just to please that person. And that is not good, because they're not being honest with themselves, and they're not being honest with anyone else. And in the end, it's going to create hurt for themselves and for others when others find out that that's not the truth. And so I encourage people not to be people pleasers. Do not do things simply to please somebody else. Do something because it comes from your heart and you truly want to do it. And then you will be on the right path. And so today I am wearing green, this bright green, and it's actually a lot brighter than it looks on camera. But green is the color of health. So in hospitals, when people use a bright green color, they are often in recovery and healing and becoming more healthy and getting better. And, you know, of course, when they use like black and with red or morose colors, more morose, darker colors, they're usually quite ill and may be declining in health. So today, for the subject of self-care and as a topic of health, I have worn the color green, not only for the upcoming Christmas holiday, but as a symbol of health. So in the realm of the psychology of color, green is a color of health. And so I want to inspire everyone to take good care of themselves this holiday season. Holidays are very challenging for everyone on some level, whether to be with challenging family, to be an overextended host, to be a guest who feels that they don't belong, or to be feeling like you're isolated. For whatever reason, the holidays tend to put a lot of pressure on people. So I'm inspiring people to take the pressure off of themselves and to have no fear, no shame over the holidays. Ask for what you want and need. Honor what you want and need this holiday season so that you can have a pleasant holiday season. More than anything, it is a time to enjoy the season. It's a really beautiful season. And the thing is that I'm not a fundamental Christian, but I do believe in the Christ energy. And I do believe that there couldn't have been this entire story based on nobody. So there was a story, perhaps loosely based on somebody who was, in fact, Jesus Christ a long time ago. And the thing is that he was not a pansy. This guy was, he was like a Malcolm X. I mean, for a guy to stand on the steps of City Hall and overthrow the tables of, the financiers, the money keepers, and to call out the cheats, the bankers, he was a bad, what I'm saying, bad ace. Right. The guy had, guts. He had guts to get up there and do that. And so he was incredibly courageous, and his message is one of courage and light. And his mother, right? So do I believe that his mother was a virgin? I don't care. I probably not. I'm sure she wasn't. Do I care? No, I don't care if she was a virgin, but she was his mother, right? I mean, she birthed him, and she's an incredible symbol of birth and light and love. And so there's this dual aspect of the divine feminine mother. And we see that coming into consciousness more and more these days. And then there's the aspect of the divine male, masculine, who stands up for what he believes in. And so this is a beautiful season to stand up for what you believe in. And I want to inspire everyone on that. And just before we close here, I would like to share also that here at Radio Buzzed, we have a program that is a sponsorship program for anyone out there who wants to have us sponsor their business internationally or even locally. We have a package where we will come and interview your business and film you and post your business on live streaming radio repeatedly for as long as you'd like. And we have a very comprehensive and fair package where we produce that. So please get in touch with us here at radiobuzz.com. So this is Aura Walker signing off. Peace out, Bean Sprout. Happy holidays. I will be back every week at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Thanks a lot. See you next time.